Hello, everyone.
Hi, good morning, Faith.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone.
How are you?
Okay, David, can we reduce the music? Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining us. Ah, yeah. Yes, thank you for joining.
Sonia, how are you, Sonia? Can't hear me. What's happening? Morning. How are you?
I think you have.
I'm good, thank you. I think the music is still playing in the background. Have you been?
Very well. Yeah, yeah.
Good. Pretty good, pretty good. Busy, but good. Very busy.
Okay, good morning. So let's get started. David, please just switch right. Let's get started, please. Thank you. So, welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Faith. Good morning, Sonia.
Welcome.
I think the music is still playing in the background.
Yes.
Okay,
David,
it's
please,
gone now.
can you attend to it?
He has. Who is the young man in the background who wants to be part of this session?
Is the boss.
The boss, indeed. Okay.
Okay. Good day, everyone, wherever you're joining us from. Thank you for joining us in another series of the RGF Green Nexus program. So last time we had a good session and we actually looked at the basics of So we actually looked at the basics of sustainability, and it was really an amazing session with Jay and with Fumilayo. So today we are going to be having another interesting and amazing guest with us. But before we proceed, I would just want to do another introduction of myself. My name is Faith Desmond. I'm the director of the RGF Green Nexus, specifically the director of sustainability RGF, and directing the project, the RGF Green Nexus. So, and we also want to say a big thank you to all our partners, to Richard George Foundation for betting this vision, and also to our founder, Richard George. We'll be seeing him very soon, and also to our partner, the Voice Aid, and also other partners out there. So we want to say big thank you to everyone that has been supporting our project, and every team member as well. So welcome once again, and today we are going to be discussing a very, very interesting topic, and we are so happy. Didn't mean global warming. What on earth is that? Is one of the reasons why we want to have the session today, and we have an expert in our midst today that will be breaking down this concept into bits so everyone can understand. So if you're on the call, you can use the chat session. You can just drop your comment, drop your questions as the session is on, and we're going to have a time to attend to your questions. So before we invite our guests, I would like to invite our founder, Richard George, to for an opening remark. So I don't know, it's Mr. Richard on the call, please. Yes, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Faith. I want to say a big thank you to you and the team, including David, who is managing the back end, and his fantastic internship team. I also want to thank Sonia Somuvie, who accepted the invite to be a special guest today. The steps towards change, the movement towards change, the transformation that births change starts with conversations. And I am incredibly warm in my heart to see that the Richard George Foundation Green Nexus initiative is leading this conversation. Obviously, like you rightly said, in collaboration with our partners from Germany, the Voice Aid Association, which is committed to the Depression Africa project, uh, Just Recycle initiative at the local level in Edo State, who are doing an amazing work um, educating young talents at the Edo Technical College, as well as people like Ibrahim Cyril, who is one of the coordinators and working in collaboration with Crudan and looking to set up that level of engagement within the Kaduna axis as well. I can go on, but I want to say a big thank you to all of you. I want to also appreciate all the state coordinators, too many to mention, and it would be remiss of me not to say a wonderful thank you to our Chief Operating Officer, Stella Ogba Aburu, whose tenacity, perseverance, resilience, and capacity to do all things for good is immeasurable. A big thank you. I believe we're going to have an exciting time today. I believe we're going to be educated because it is the educational foundation that births progress. It is awareness that ensures we are equipped with the right level of information, the supporting data, the evidence that we need to be able to make informed decisions that takes us the way we go. The issue or the conversation around climate change and global warming, I like to think it remains a big issue in Africa, and yet a lot of Africans either are in denial or do not prioritize this. And on a final note, what a lot of people don't realize and what a lot of nation states don't realize is it opens up incredible opportunities for eco smart entrepreneurship investment, opportunities for new types of jobs, opportunities for new technologies to be deployed and adopted to solutionize problems, and opportunities for stabilizing economies that are still going through developmental phase. So today, I hope it's an opportunity for us to learn, to unlearn, and relearn in order to make positive change to society. I thank you, Faith Desmond, for anchoring these engagement sessions. I don't take them lightly, and well done for reaching out to quality guests who are only positioned to educate us and engage us and empower us and encourage us. Thank you once again. It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you, Faith.
Thank you very much. That's a good one from our own founder, Mr. Richard George. Thank you very much, sir, for that opening remark. And thank you for the opportunity you're giving to you. Thank you for the platform. And thank you for what Richard George Foundation is doing and the blessings. Okay, so we proceed right now to welcome our guest. So I will just be reading our profile before she come up on stage. So Sonia Somuvie is a dynamic author, serial entrepreneur, and sustainability expert with a strong passion for driving impact through business, environmental advocacy, and leadership development. With an MBA and certifications in sustainability and environmental management, she has spent the past 5 years helping organizations integrate sustainable practice into their operations. As the founder and CEO of Fair Nigeria Limited, she is committed to shaping the future of business through ESG consulting, corporate leadership training, and ecosystem focused projects. So she's also the founder of EcoSmart Climate Action Initiative, a platform dedicated to environmental sustainability through cleanups, tree planting, and community-driven projects. In her role as special advisor on environment to Senator Ned Nwoko in the 10th Assembly, she plays a key role in shaping policies for a greater Nigeria. So, beyond business, Sonia is an author dedicated to helping young professionals and women navigate life's transitions with purpose. So our latest book, Starting Here and Now, encourages individuals to take bold steps towards personal and professional growth. Through initiatives like the Future Conference, she is fostering collaborations between enterprises, policymakers, and young entrepreneurs to build more sustainable and innovative future. Please let's make welcome our own special guest, Sonia. Thank you very much, Sonia, for honoring our invitation. So, and we say welcome to you. Welcome, Sonia.
Hi. Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry about this. That.
Yes, can hear you now.
All right. Sorry, the network has been acting up.
Okay. Well, or yeah, it's fine. It's fine. So good to see your face. Thank you very much and welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So we proceed right away. As earlier mentioned, we are going to be having a very interesting discussion on climate change and global warming. So a lot of you may be wondering what exactly is climate change when we say the climate has changed or is changing. What are we talking about? So this is why we're having Sonia on the call. Sonia is the expert, and from her profile, you can see that she has done amazing things already, and she's ready to take us through this part, break this concept down so we get to that when somebody say climate change next time, it doesn't look so complex. Like, okay, yes, I remember what Sonia said. So that's actually what we want to get at the end of this session. And also, she will also be breaking that concept of global warming. Yeah, when you say global warming, say, what is that? What is greenhouse effect? What does all this thing mean? What is warming up? So what do they mean by all these things? So Sonia is here, and also she's a Nigerian, so she's going to come down home, bring it down home, so that we understand how it is, and using examples within our own environment, so we all can relate and say, okay, yes, so we know what we also want to take action. So I'm sure she will be able to guide us through that part. Okay, Sonia. Now starting with this, everybody really wants what it means and why it even matters. So you want to tell us right now what is climate change in a very simple way that we can all understand, so it doesn't look so big anymore. So what exactly is climate? Help us understand this.
So climate change can be referred to a long-term shift or adjustment in the temperature, and weather patterns, right? So it is mainly within the word climate change. It is mainly induced by human activity, but primarily in a one sentence definition, we can say climate change is the long-term shift in temperature and weather patterns. So, like I said, human activity plays a major role. Deforestation, industrial processes, burning of fossil fuel. I know that a lot of us already have a basic idea what these terms are, but this is how humans directly influence the current temperature. Everywhere is hot. I see the memes on social media where people are using to say, the lion in me cannot roar, the lion in me is sweating, you know. But all of this is as a result of climate change. So we cannot say climate change is just, the weather is cool today or it's just hot today. But when there is a pattern, when there's a long term, measurable, and continuous increase in or change in the temperature outside of our environment, then we can say climate change is in place. So it doesn't always, it's not necessarily hot. It can be extremely hot for one part of the world and really cold for another part of the world. So I think that's basic, or as for a 3.5-year-old, that's the work.
Okay, that's fine.
Yes.
Yes, I was going to say the hotness we experience in our weather, the change, is this seasonal changes, especially when it comes to agriculture. You know, when you see things have changed, you see rain falling at certain time, you're not rain this period, rain period. You see a lot of things have changed. So climate change.
Yes, it's as a result of climate change. At the time, we knew that rain was going to fall from a certain time of the year. It's going to be a harmattan at a certain time of the year. Farmers could tell, okay, at this time we should be planting pepper, at this time we should be planting cassava based on the weather, right? Even people who hunt and do fishing, same thing. They know what kind of fishes that they are exposed to at different locations per time of the year, but it's all changed because of climate change. Okay, thank you. Frozen. Can you hear me? Is this my network? Wonderful. Okay, I think she's frozen. So instead of just holding everything down, depending when she comes on, I'll just go on to say, like she was explaining, the impacts of climate change. So due to one of the impacts of climate change would include a rise in the sea level, and this is because of the melting ice cap and thermal expansion of the oceans, and this has led to the erosion of coastal lines and their displacement. So there is also extreme weather events like increase in wildfire, as you have seen in some parts of the world. Um, we have flooding, we have drought, we have intense storm. And then there's also the case of water scarcity. For those who are within the water protection sector, there is a big alarm on the lack of access to usable water, especially in underdeveloping countries. All right, and this is because of drought and a change in rainfall patterns. Now, for human migration, which is also as a result of climate change, we have climate-induced displacement. For example, in Nigeria, people from places like Borno or far north are beginning to come down to more tropical areas because they really cannot farm. And just like the um, focus of what Environment Day was last year, it was on deforestation and drought resilience, right? So because of this, their source of livelihood is being displaced, and they are having to migrate to other parts of the country, to places like Benin Republic or Chad. This is the reality for people up north in Nigeria at the moment due to climate change. So it impacts the rise, it increases the sea levels. There are extreme weather events all over the world, like you have seen, especially with the wildfire. We have water scarcity and active human migration. Welcome back, Faith.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know if this is affecting our internet. If it because it has been terrible with network service this period. All right, so thank you very much, Sonia, for that. So you've talked about how we can identify, okay, these are climate changes and all of that. So also I would like you to also let us know what exactly causes these things, because now we are aware that like our climate has changed, our weather conditions, seasonal. We are not able to predict so much right now because of the change in the climate, and also the kind of rain, the way the season, the hotness in weather, just like you mentioned, and people are not even aware that this is the same climate change we have been referring to, and which you just mentioned. And so want to know, what are the causes, what are the things that actually causes this thing, so we can know exactly how we are contributing to all of, because that's the part we don't want to accept that we are actually the one causing the problem. So tell us, what are the causes of this climate change? What is actually making our climate to change?
Yes, so primarily we would say human activities, right? You cannot talk about the effect on urban. We cannot talk about the effect of climate change on the environment without involving humans. However, we cannot talk about the cause of it without involving humans. It's primarily human. With rapid urbanization, we have network is reconnecting. Am I back? Am I back on? Right. So due to rapid urbanization, civilization, and development, there's a lot of pressure on um, heavy machines, right? And because of this, we have had a significant increase in greenhouse gases. Now, number one is the burning of fossil fuels. Things like coal, oil, gas, they release carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. Now, it is sometimes the cycle in within our atmosphere, the cycles we have permit for these things to be removed or to be moved around, right? But we have maxed out, and we're at that point where most of these greenhouse gases are just sitting there, making increasing the temperature that we are naturally used to. Now, the deforestation is also a cause of it. With the rapid cutting down of trees and increase in the demand of wood and wood-related material and products, we are reducing the lung. Like within the human body, you have your lungs, right? So by removing the lungs of the planet by actively felling trees and not replacing them. But then, how fast can you replace them? They need to grow, right? So, are there laws in place to say, okay, this is the percentage of trees that are allowed to be used before we reforestate our environment and then start cutting down again? There are none. So, trees are naturally there to absorb this greenhouse gas, greenhouse gas like carbon dioxide, and in the end, what happens without the trees? It just still remains there in the atmosphere. Now, industrial and agricultural activities. The current climate change we're experiencing is not just from what we are our recent activities from yesterday or today from last year. It's because we have moved from the industrial and agrarian age down to this technological age. And in those years, in those decades, there's been a massive demand on there's been a massive expulsion of methane, nitrogen oxides, carbon dioxide, and all of these were not properly taken care of. In that there was no measures in place to take them out, to take them down, or to remove them from the atmosphere. Right? Hence, we are suffering from climate change today. In addition of our more recent activities, So we know that, okay, this is going to be a long-term challenge. But industrial and agricultural activities are one of the main issues. Livestock farming, factories and production of fertilizers and herbicides or whatever we use for our farms just to keep insects away, pesticides and all are a major factor. Transportation also is a major factor. But what can we do? Do we stop moving around, or can we opt for using local transport where instead of 5 people driving their cars, 5 people can use a taxi, one taxi, right? Transportation is a major problem again because they burn fossil fuel and emit a large amount of CO2. And this has contributed to our air pollution. And this is why you see there's a lot of campaign, especially in more civilized nations, for the use of solar cars, electric cars. Let's look for other options to be mobile, to move around without having to, depend solely on fossil fuel for movement, for transportation. Now there is waste and landfill. Decomposing waste and landfill emits the same chemical or greenhouse gas that is maintained as industrial and agricultural activities. So, if you've ever passed where they pack a pile of trash, there is this thing you must have heard that they say, oh, there's certain people in this country who goes to sniff sewage, or they go to sniff where they put trash because it gets them high or something. That gas maintained is what they go for. All right, it is very unhealthy and should even be within the reach of human consumption. However, when we keep piling up our trashes in landfills and one small stop, as it's customary to us here in Nigeria, we go to the end of one street and then we keep piling trash there. It releases carbon dioxide and other gases, especially methane. Now, there is also the need for overconsumption. Why do we have a high demand in fashion? Why is there a high demand of single-use plastic? Why is there a high demand in things that are not durable, and their production process or even their sources or even their natural sources are anti-planetary health? Because of overconsumption, we are obsessed with having things. We don't want to wash our plates. We use it once and throw it away. We use single-use straws, single-use cutlery, and throw them away. So any business, literally, and that is where my own career is mostly domiciled. The ethics of business on the planet. Any business or any production or any product that is not planetary friendly, either in their sourcing or in their production process, shouldn't be encouraged. But I know that there are some of these things we can't live without. So, do we go for reusable spoons, that is stainless spoons or copper spoons or wooden spoons, or should we be using plastic spoons and throwing them away after one use? Plastic is gotten from fossil fuel, right? Byproduct of fossil fuel, of crude oil, and then the production process is hectic, and then we dispose them. We're not conscious of where we dispose them. They end up on landfill. They break into smaller particles and pollute our waterways, our lands. So by extension, that convenience for 5 minutes to use a plastic spoon and not wash it or just throw it away is stressing the planet desperately. Because when you're like, okay, it's just me, but there's 5 million, 1 billion of you. So overconsumption and demand in certain products that are not planetary friendly have also increased the effects of climate change that we currently experience. So I think those are like the basics that I can pick from the top of my head. And we can, again, you said this is introductory. This is introductory enough.
Yes. Very well, very well. Thank you very much, Sonia. So we can all see that our activities actually is contributing to go deeper. As we have questions, please, from the audience, you can drop your questions in the comment section and we'll be attending to them. So thank you, Sonia, for all of that. So I'm also curious, and I'm sure some persons also want to know, where does global warming come into play in all of these things? So is the climate change we're talking about is the same thing as global warming or all of these things? So where does the global warming come in this case, so that people know the difference, they know what it is? Can't hear you.
Pardon me, please. Climate change is more or less like a symptom of global warming. right? So global warming is the long-term, again, long-term, emphasis on that. It's the long-term increase in the average surface temperature within Earth, within the planet, right? But, okay, sorry, why will limit climate change to the planet? Global warming, like you said, global, it's the whole world now, right? Um, it is the continuous and long-term increase in temperature, just about the same definition as climate change. But again, this is also due to human activities, burning of fossil fuel, greenhouse gases, and the end game of all of this is that these the emissions from these activities, or the side effects from these activities, is actually trapped heat within the atmosphere. Like I said, there is a cycle for everything. We have, if you did agriculture, there's oxygen cycle, there's water cycle, and nitrogen cycle, and all of this. But when there is too much, then the process, there is a shift in the balance of how things should be done, and that shift is what is affecting us. So unlike climate change, that okay, the symptoms may be directly linked to the symptoms per location may be different. For global, there's a global rise in temperature. All right, and yes, I know that we are from a more tropical area. There are countries that are really they are very cold, but then they have extremes of these temperatures too. When they are experiencing heat, the heat is unbearable. When there is cold, or when it's winter, the ice is also the cold is also unbearable. So they have melting ice caps and glaciers. We have rising sea levels, and then we have heat waves. Now in Nigeria, we've not been experiencing that, but we are currently experiencing drought, and that is why this agency, the Agency for the Great Green Wall, was stated by the last president to see how we can reforestate certain states that are beginning to lose their usable landmass, right? And now, like I said, there's a disruption in ecosystem and wildlife. Because, for example, I made an example earlier about fishermen being exposed to certain species of fishes per different season. So dry season, we know that okay, we don't see this kind of fish because they have migrated somewhere else, and then rainy season, this is the type we found. But the effect of global warming on this is there is extension in seasons, or there's a disruption in seasons and patterns, and this has also led to the extreme reduction and sometimes extinction of certain species that their survival or mating is limited to the season. But that's what humans also don't put into place. My activity would increase the temperature it would increase surface temperature. And increase in surface temperature means that there are some species that cannot mate because maybe their eggs or their gestational period would require for them to have a certain kind of temperature that is no longer there. So what happens to them? A good number of them who cannot adapt or are not resilient are cut off, or they go into extinction. So global warming is actually a key aspect of climate change, and well, climate change is very broad. So I'm going to leave it to Miss Faith to create this conversation so that we don't go very far.
Yes, thank you. But I just wanted you to put a distinction so that people like about it. It's easier to know the difference. So thank you. Then I think you mentioned fossil fuel, and also you also talked about deforestation. So I also want you more because we call that, and I remember then in school, or maybe when we talk about tree planting, people don't know why we are planting trees because they don't even know why falling of trees is a problem. Like in Lagos in particular, I think at the point I was saying why everywhere just building houses everywhere, even covering our rivers, like people get to buy water. They just buy, they're covering the waters, they're everywhere, they just build anywhere you can build. So at the end of the day, you see our trees going away. And you see that some of these climate activists, so a lot of people come up and they're trying to maybe campaign against felling of trees, and because of this they want to sell some parts to real estate firm. So people just come on and say, no, you people should not destroy our trees. You don't know why people do all of these things. So I want you to maybe talk further around this part. Why is it that a lot of times when people fall trees is a problem, and also the problem this thing has actually caused around? Because normally at the point we will say maybe some areas like I think Port Harcourt, we say how they don't have clean hair. The hair is not clean. When you go to some places, you don't really breathe in free, it's not fresh. So what's going on? Like, how is this thing a problem? So maybe you want to also talk more around that. Then you can talk about the fossil fuel, maybe the reason why people will tell you go for solar and not use the generator, not use this. What is actually the problem that we're looking at?
All right, so I'll just do a run off on what greenhouse gases are. So when we talk about fossil fuel, the burning of fossil fuel increases the amount of greenhouse gas we have in the atmosphere. And some of these gases that carbon dioxide, or the greenhouse gas that we have. So that's like the right? Carbon dioxide. And this is the funny thing. Cars produce it, animals produce it, and we produce it. But the only thing that uses it up are plants. So this is where the whole felling of tree and all of this comes in. On June 19th, we have a conference here in Abuja, and it's our first future conference, and we're focusing on the effects of on sustainable cities, the effects of real estate on climate, on us as a people. And like you said, they just wake up, they get a big piece of land, they chop down all the trees and start building houses, and they put fake grass or carpet grass to cover the land surface, right? So now the only thing that use up carbon dioxide really fast is trees. Now, when we experience forest loss through wildfires or deforestation or tree felling, then the question is, where does this 76% of greenhouse gases, aka carbon dioxide, where do they go? Where do they go? People in some developed countries, they burn coal, and gas for heating. Within here, especially if you're in Bande, you are making electricity by burning fossil fuel. They burn crude oil to make fossil fuel to produce electricity. Crude oil exploration, process of making petrol and gas is all pollution based. Is all the major byproduct of it is again is greenhouse gases, and the organ of it again, like I said, I'll keep repeating, is carbon dioxide. Then we have maintained from livestock and landfills and oil and gas exploration. That is the type of gas so all of these are just stuck here within the air, making the oxygen not sufficient for us. Right? Because again, there is displacement. If we did chemistry, we have nitrogen, for example, and then we have oxygen, right? But when they come together, it becomes nitrogen oxide. So the oxygen we're supposed to use, the oxygen that should be working in other areas like cooling down the environment, is binding with these chemicals, other chemicals in the atmosphere, and there is not sufficient use. So what has that led to? And let me shock you. Even what you used to cool yourself from the effect of climate change, that is fluorinated gases from your refrigerators and air conditioning and electronic manufacturing processes, all of them are also culprits. Although fluorinated gases is under 2%, nitrogen is under 6%, but the two major ones are carbon dioxide, which is 76, and methane, which is about 16%. So we can directly and indirectly say that industrial and agricultural activities are actually at the center of all of this climate change we're experiencing. But as a people, can we do without machines? Can we do without machines? So whether for transportation or for functionality, can we? The answer literally is no. But how do we reduce our dependency on these things? How do we reduce the effects of these machines to the barest minimum? Right. So I think in the last COP28, nations are pushing for net zero targets, and to reduce that methane reduction. They came up with methane reduction strategies. So they are recommending that we go solar, we use wind energy, we use electric vehicles. Again, some of the challenges are most developing nations like our own cannot even afford these things at a national level. And even individuals who would say, okay, I want to go, let me go all the way, let's start using solar. You still need some electricity sometimes to charge. If you don't have the panels are really expensive, So, and then like in our country still, another developing nations, we don't have a payment plan where you can pay conveniently over a long period of time. This makes it a bit difficult for people to actually make proper or sustainable changes. So, while fossil fuel is a problem, and the world is looking at net zero at 2030, it's difficult for everybody to get there at the same time. As for developing countries like ours, what do we do? Our economy is even our economy is driven by crude oil. But then what other things are in place that we can do, Nigerians can do, people in other African countries can do, or poorer countries can do to reduce the effect of climate change while they try to transition into net zero? So, Miss Faith, I'm leaving it with you. Yes, to answer the second part of your question, the
Okay.
effect of this, there is health effect. There's an increase in allergic reactions or allergic cases. There is an increase also in respiratory issues. A lot of the people, the numbers of people who are now accounted for, that have asthma and other respiratory irritation or issues have drastically increased. Now we have lung cancer even amongst people who smoke a cigarette once in their life. Like you said about Port Harcourt, you go there, you can literally see black soot on your skin or in your nose when you clean with a white handkerchief because of the active burning of fossil fuel. Not even just from the explorations of IOCs or international oil companies, but also from illegal bunkering activities that are going on. You go within the South, people burn tires at night. At night, when people have their windows open to sleep, you burn tires for security reasons. So these things affect our health. It has reduced longevity. There are a lot of cases of terminal illness like cancer. And economically, it's driving out tourism, it's driving out businesses and possible investments. Because why would I go and open a hotel? Let's say we want to increase
Wow.
tourism in Port Harcourt, then I'll take a hotel and go and spend billions to build a standard hotel, a global standard hotel in Port Harcourt, only for people to say, I don't have this, I don't sleep very comfortable, I can't breathe. We're losing our water, our usable water. The rivers are shrinking. If you are someone who maybe when you were growing up used to go to the village, the rivers you used to play in, they look like streams now. Some streams have become lake, they're drying up, all because of climate change. There is loss of biodiversity. When was the last time you saw a butterfly? Compared to when you were a kid, this thing just flew and perched on you because you're wearing a flowery dress. A butterfly will come perch on your dress.
Ah.
Was the best times of our lives.
Mhm.
We'll see ladybugs, we'll see funny insects, the one with octagon and hectagon shapes. Where are they? Extinction is real. There's heavy migration. People are okay, and Nigeria too hot to. I want to sell. You have a good paying job. You want to sell everything to go and japa. Like I said, even within Nigeria, people are relocating from up north. They're coming down south because they don't have. There's no water. The earth crust is dry. The lands are dry, all from climate change. So there is economic loss. There is poor health. There is also increase in mortality, maternal mortality. All of these are backed scientifically. There are data available even within our countries. So it's not too much to ask for us to transition to solar energy. It's not too much to say, please, if it's not necessary, don't drive, use public bus. At least we agree it's emitting greenhouse gas, but it's not 22 of you driving, it's 22 of you using one instead of using 22 cars, right? So these are
Yeah.
the issues, and they are all relatable. I'm just trying to keep it at a basic level so that it's something that we can all identify with.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you very much for that. So before we look at what we can do, And you mentioned already that some of these things are expensive. Alternatives and what maybe how we can lead you lifestyle ways and all of that, sort out this thing. I would like you to speak on two aspects right now, just to break it down. The concept of oil spillage, especially in Niger Delta, people that really have this oil and all of that. So the extraction of oil, crude oil, all of this is how does it really affect this kind of region? Because sometimes we hear they get to compensate them and all that. So what them and how does it connect to this whole climate change that we're talking about right now? I think you can let's look at that first. The concept of oil spillage. Okay, did you get my question?
Yeah, yes, I got your
You're
question.
muted. The mic.
Um,
Mhm.
I'm back on. All right. So rivers play a basic role in carbon sequestration or carbon absorption from the atmosphere. You will be shocked, but rivers like plants use up carbon dioxide. They also regulate temperature. If even now they tell you, oh, if you're having the heat is too much in your house, put a wet t-shirt at the back of your fan so that when it's blowing, it's a bit cooler, right? River, like I said again, biodiversity loss. It's the waterway is responsible for the survival of about 48% of biodiversity. Water supply is right out. Like in the south, we don't have issues with drought because we have enough rivers. Now, rivers also help with flood control because no matter how the water collects, if there's somewhere to pick it up, it doesn't just go out of it. River, where you have rivers, you have a pathway for water collection. It controls diseases because it reduces the impact of extreme rainfall, and then it's also a source of energy. That's hydropower, right? And it's used for soil and land prevention. So all of these are the benefits of river and more. Now, in places where there are spillage, you seal off the river from being able to sequestrate or absorb carbon. You make it inhabitable for the biodiversity that it carries. You seal off the surface, and now you cannot control temperature. And this is why one of the most wicked things I feel any company can do to humans or the host community is to be responsible for its spillage and not get onto it immediately and get it off or take care of it. Now, a lot of the IOCs are irresponsible, and over time, they've gotten away with too much. Shell did their bit, and now they have moved from Niger Delta, and they've negotiated their way to go start exploring crude oil from the sea. But then, when when this sequestrate carbon, where does it go? What is fossil fuel in the first place? It's carbon. It's carbon. It's fossil carbon. It's long overdue, long stored up, broken down, rebuilt up, recycled carbon, right? So, but then when it's placed, when it's out of the ground, just like the trees, that's what the trees take it from the atmosphere and put it in the ground. When it's out of the ground and in the atmosphere, there's problem. So as an IOC, when you fail to do what's needful, when you fail to prevent, I'm not really big on mopping up the oil from the river. My first issue is what are the issues here? Why are your machineries bad? Why is there spillage in the first place? Can it be prevented? If yes, why not get on with it? Run with prevention in mind. Now, host communities also have the right to make demands and negotiate for loss of usable land and water. But that are
Yeah.
secondary and they're just mitigation. They're just messy after death. Now there's loss. The effect of this is there is loss of usable land. Most of these places where they go to explore oil, their economy is dependent on farming and fishing, land use. Many of them do not have very sophisticated houses, so they have direct access to the river and land for survival. They need direct access to the river and land for survival. Their food is dependent on quality or good soil health, which is no longer there. So it is one of the most inhumane things to do, to be responsible for spills and then not do anything about it. But then that's where the government comes in play. What are the rules? Oil spillage exploration, oil spill penalty as of when the act was established, it was about ₦1 million. So as for a company, you rather pay ₦1 million than spend hundreds of millions to make sure that these things are out of place. These kinds of policies needs to be reviewed. These kinds of policies needs to be upgraded. There have to be capital punishment for certain things so that people will start taking responsibility for their actions. That's in my opinion. So the government has a role to play. Law enforcement agencies like NOSDRA, who are responsible for oil spillage issues, also need to tighten their belt. The Navy also need to do their job right. So this is even beyond just the people in the communities. In the end, they're just the victims. So I've explained what the benefits of rivers or water bodies does for the environment. But oil spillage simply just goes there and creates a film on top of it, directly reversing the use of that river and causing possibly the loss of that space and then usable land. Again, when the land is polluted, even if you want to start planting trees and we are protecting the place, you still need to reclaim. There's what we call remediation and reclamation. You still need to reclaim or redeem that land before it can become useful again. Otherwise, whatever you put there dies. It's because again, oil is a pollutant. It's chemical. Apart from crude oil, even companies who do production, soap production, cosmetic production, where do they send their waste? Companies who make fabrics, where do they send the dyes after dyeing? All of this looks good, yes, but what kind of dyes are they using? See what you're wearing. You're wearing our Nigerian fabric. I'm trying to wear. I'm wearing the batik one because we're all to say, okay, since these ones are made from plants, they get dyes from plants like the locust tree, some other trees, right? Then the candle wax is in the cloth. You know, we're trying to be more consumption friendly. We're trying to be more planetary friendly with our consumption. But a lot of people don't care. And there's what we call fast fashion, and there is fast trends for consumption. So it's not just oil and gas. General industrial activities have done more harm than good when it comes to the climate and global warming.
Wow. That's a lot. So I'm sure our audience are actually catching this right now, understanding the effect of it. We now see that it's actually majorly human activities causing this. It's not like God is angry with the world and is now trying to make our climate uncomfortable for us. So when we look at it, he has to take care of. So it's our own activities that is actually causing the problem we are facing. So the fact that the weather is very hot, it's also our own activity contributing to the problem we are facing. So that's why we are actually talking about climate action. So I'm sure with what Sonia has been explaining, you can now see why the word climate action is coming on board. Like, okay, you need to take action. You need to stop doing this, you need to start doing this too. We've all seen the effect. You've talked about the problem, the impact, and what it is. It's just our current reality. You've also mentioned where the government can also come into play. Maybe you want to also talk more about that. But basically, how do we as individual, what can we do in our very small cycle? We may not have, some person may not have so much money, like big money to do something, but how can we reduce this climate change effects, the fact that we are also contributing to the impact? How can we reduce it in our own, maybe as individuals, as also a community? So what can we do?
About that for the government, um, again, it's all policy. The government is there for policies and enforcement of those policies. However, the beauty of democracy is it's actually two-thirds the people, one-third the government. An average Nigerian will pick up a newspaper and see that there is an announcement for public hearing for a certain bill that should be passed. There are businesses whose this hearing should have, they won't show up. Individuals won't show up. On days that these things are allowed, the National Assembly is open and people are allowed to just come in. No, so I feel like we need to get more involved. NGOs have the right to write a bill and get across to somebody or an interested committee or a related committee in the House of Rep or Senate, propose it and get somebody to sponsor it on the floor of the House. By sponsoring, you don't need any money. I need somebody to take it to the floor of the House and read it. People can volunteer to work as consultants with these committees also. What I mean is you don't need to be in the system to make it because if you show up, for example, for those hearings, you have the right to turn on your mic and ask questions. You have the right to say, look, I'm from this place, this thing affects me directly. This data is not right. These are the experiences of the people that, what can I do? You can argue a point that is valid for other people. So I feel like individuals within Nigeria especially are too far away from the government. They are not as lord. They are not the lords of these things as we see them. That's one. Now, as individuals, as a community, as a family, we can reduce our carbon footprint, right, by reducing fossil fuel use. Like I said, if it's not necessary, use public transport. Reduce your energy. If you're not using it, turn it off. My people in this house know me. If I'm not, I mean, my bedroom, I have up to 3 or 4 lighting systems. Only this one on top of me is also off behind. Why? If it's not in use, if it's not necessary, if you can do without it, leave it off. Go for energy friendly appliances. Right? You don't want to be why is all the lights in the house? And why are you using the light that's giving heat? Why are you using a bulb that's taking away? In fact, save your money, use energy friendly products, right? Then, for example, in Abuja, there's a company that's an electric vehicle company for cabs. As much as possible, and affiliate yourself with businesses like that. Consciously consume. We're talking about batik. Why are you using disposable clothes? This clothes, for example, this is cotton. I expect that the one you're wearing is cotton also because it's fabric, local print, right? Now, why are you wearing nylons? Why do you need to wear sequins? These are plastic. When you even use disposable cups and bottles, do you ensure that it's properly disposed so that it doesn't end up in the rivers or landfill? Do you sort your trash? Can you reduce your need to buy things? Like we're just buying. Before the salary comes, no one wants to use. But then 3 steps, skin routine, care, whatever. We have all this. You open your drawer, you have like 62 plastic side. What if it's not necessary? Can we leave it alone? And I personally have a problem for an increase in paper products without any conscious here. If you're a business owner, why are you not planting trees? Why is your organization not consciously trying to improve the planet? When you are setting up your business, do you think of the effect of your operations on the planet? Are you ESG aware? Do you consult for ESG integration? Do you understand? Waste management, you're setting up an estate. Who takes up your trash? Where do they take it? Be sure that the people you are patronizing to pick up your trash are not keeping it on the land, are not putting it in one big hole somewhere. They're actually recycling it and doing something proper with it. Then, for example, our industrial and urban practices, very circular economy. Why I'm asking this is I saw a documentary, not a documentary, it was a trend that sometime last year in Europe where the government there was a competition for who can take off the most pavements. So they are removing all these interlocks on the street and planting cute flowers and actual plants that they're putting up plants that would bring in the same insect they've been fumigating away all these years. But now they've understood that they need these insects to balance things out, to reverse the effect of climate change or at least reduce it. So they are removing pavements, they're including plants, people are beginning to have farms they're actually beginning to plant actual plants within their yard and not just have plastic ones. What is your water use like? Why are you dating 5 times a day and using 3 buckets of ones? So these are the little daily decisions that we can make. Why don't you have a tote bag? You have a gym, you're no longer using. Give it to these Obioa tailors, give them 1,000 naira, they'll make it into one big fine fancy bag you can be using about. Why do you have to be carrying? Go to a shop right, you're asking for nylon. Please double it again. You have like you buy something of 3,000, you have 6 nylons going home. What do you need it for? It looks little, it looks funny, but these are the issues, these are the things that we need to pay attention to ensure that we are contributing our quota. So this is just you. And like so far I've only been able to save 5 nylons. However, in one if one of us did that would be 5,000 nylons. If 1 million of us did it, 5 million nylons. You see the number adds up when we all decide to be responsible and be eco-conscious and friendly in our daily activity. So while the government is doing theirs, while you are learning to be a part of what the government is doing within your personal space, you can make better choices.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Sonia, for taking us through this. I don't know if Stella is on the call. So if we have questions, please and please, you can still ask. So we are wrapping up soonest. And I think that's been an awesome session with Sonia on the call, talking about this whole complex climate change matter, and she has been able to help us break this thing down, and it has really been amazing. So, Sonia, do you have final words for us? I'm not seeing any question, so I'm sure the ones we have, let everyone go and digest it first. So, so let's take time to digest it, understand it. I'm sure we can now find a way to do something by ourselves. So we have a question anyway before you give your final words. Okay. Yes, thank you very much. That's a very good compliment. Say that nylon matter is a very important
Very.
conversation. Yes, it is a very important one. Like people need to be so concerned about this, and it's something that is normal. We just throw nylon away, like it's usual, it's common. It's very hard to do without the nylon because that's how we
No,
grow
no,
up.
that's not
That's
true.
what we grew up to
That's
meet.
not true.
So not telling us to do
Except you
without
were
the
born
nylon.
after 2007.
Ah,
I don't know. I mean, I was born 91, right? So in my time, we were taking plates to restaurants to buy food. We're going to schools with
yeah.
water bottles.
We used to do
That's why you
that.
see we're still very big. We're not really shy to take. It's not a trend for us to take water bottles. We're always taking water bottles to work now. But we're always taking it to school. So taking it to work is not a big deal. People would, I don't know how it is. So when I left Delta State, I think in 2009, when I went to school and I saw that if you go and buy water, or if you go and buy something that's not big, they'll give you 9. Back then in Delta, they bring your cellophane from your house. So when we go to the market and bring cellophane, my mom will wash those big backpack bags and hang them. She doesn't throw them away. Then the one they sell 20 naira bag, 10 naira bag, then the hard thick nylon, that one is about 40 micron. You have to clean it up because so if you're going to the market, they will not give you. They'll tell you that they put it in the normal white nylon or you carry from your house.
Carry from your house.
And then I grew up seeing my grandmother use the other plastic woven bag and the one with the made with raffia to the market. And now we're doing it because it's cute. We only do those things now when we're going for picnics and we're like, I'm carrying basket. You can take those baskets to the market, darling. You can. If you do, somebody will see, they'll post it on TikTok. Another person will do it. But we don't have to do these things because they are trends. Let me show you something. So this is my city oil. There is a small one. It's one in sachet that you can just use for the day and throw away. It's more convenient. This is the bottle. To refill this, I had to buy this big one. Now, after using this, I ensure that it's a plastic that is recyclable, right? You know, there are some plastic that are not really recyclable, maybe like 20% recyclable. Both the cover and this are about the same. This is something that I can keep using. The one with the glass is something that I can keep using. So, but some people prefer to buy the pack of the sachet one that they can just press in their mouth like this and go. It's not convenient. I just go inside of the bag
It is
and all of that.
convenient.
But when you press it and go, where do you throw it? That's what I'm saying. Oh, you don't need this refill. This is 1 year plus supply for me because I need this one of it a day. But imagine having
Wow.
to throw away 365 nylons because it's convenient. So did I save more money buying this? Yes. See the nylon, the wrap also is is recyclable. Why did I go for something that is I'm just looking around to look for. I try not to buy those things. Why did I? Why? But there was a time where I didn't have this consciousness. I would just buy it because it was cute. So you are doing, those of us that used to do face care this thing on TikTok like this. We tear the sachet. We use the face mask once, but then thank God I'm in my I have evidence. This same vitamin C serum is what they put in that face mask. Why don't you just buy this and use one of these? At least it's a bottle. You use this over and over and over again for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks before you finish it. Instead of taking the nylon and tearing it and using throw away the nylon, you throw away the mask. Are they recyclable? Do you even ensure that they get to the right people if they are recyclable? So these are the issues. I just feel like in the end, the final word is this: be a conscious consumer. That's the first way. When you're buying, think of the planet, think of the ethics, think of the company. You have a phone, thank God for ChatGPT. Quickly do a quick Google search. Is this company ESG compliant? Are their production processes friendly to the environment? Is there proof of previous standards? Things like it. If there's no business, trust me, they will do better. They know what to do. It's just expensive for them to start, but on the long run, it's cheap. So just be a conscious consumer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's fine. Thank you very much. You just opened up something around this plastic and the recycling one. I know they used to talk about they have certain numbers on plastic that when you check, you know which one is okay to you, which one is even healthy, especially this microwaving, takeaway packs. These are questions for another day. Let's not go into those ones. So I'm sure our audience actually caught all of these. So when we are talking about waste management in depth, we are still going to look at this plastic properly. So, and also maybe how you can also identify which kind of plastic you shouldn't even bring into your house and which one you should at least, let's say, manage, the one that at least is still recyclable. All right, thank you very much, Sonia, for your time. Do you have final words for us?
Just
Final
be
words before you
a
go.
conscious
Thank
consumer.
you.
Be a conscious consumer.
Oh, yeah, thank you. We spent so much time on the call. Thank you very much, Sonia. Please, our audience, if you have been listening, you should celebrate Sonia for the amazing session. She actually decided to give us the honor to be with us today, and we want to say thank you. Thank you very much for honoring our invitation, and thank you for sharing this amazing insight with everyone. Thank you. We've learned a lot, and we also would want to say, I'm sure that we are going to commit to responsible consumption. Yes, so we are going to buy things that we need, and don't buy things we don't need. Yeah, so just as you've advised as well. So thank you very much, Sonia. All right, so thank you everyone. I'm sure you had a good time with us and the conversation with Sonia as well on the call. We want to say thank you to you. I don't know if Stella is on the call, but she is. She can come up. But before then, yes, so we are going to, if you actually want to volunteer with us, we are open. So you'll be getting messages on our social media platform. If you are a climate enthusiast, you want to get more into this sustainability space, you want to volunteer, wherever country, sorry, wherever state, even country, but basically Nigeria, whatever state you are connecting from, that you really want to support this movement, to also tell every other person you want to be an advocate as well. So we are open to that. Further information will be shared across our social media platforms. Please stay and keep checking our social media platforms for more updates. And also, we are open to partnership and sponsorship as well. So at Richard George Foundation, and for this project, RGF Green Nexus project, we welcome you all to partner with us. And we have partners already, as earlier mentioned, and we are grateful for our partners and how much they have brought us so far. And we actually call it for more partners to join us and let us create this change. Let's save our planet together. Thank you very much. We'll see you all in our next session, our next edition. And we believe that it will be a beautiful one, talking about waste management in our next session. So bye everyone. Thank you for joining us. and see you in our next series. Yeah, bye.